So today we have another speaker, Nivya Ravi. So she'll be talking about advanced digital footprints enumeration. Welcome Nivya to our platform. So she is a cybersecurity professional having 3+ years of experience in security consulting and pre-sales management. So over to you and stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Muskan. Let me quickly share my screen. Um, yeah, okay. I hope my screen is visible. Muskan, can you hear me?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you. So, today we are going to discuss something very basic yet super important, that is digital footprinting, right? So, once I was talking to a friend of mine about digital presence and the digital image of myself. And at the end of the conversation, he told me that I am unaware about a lot of things about myself, right? But I was very intrigued by this statement, and I thought I was pretty confident that I'm very much aware about my own internet presence, right? So I did some research on this and realized that there were a lot of interesting facts. Now, for example, a lot of you who are watching this, um, think to yourself, are you confident or do you really believe that you are completely aware of your digital footprints? Or what would you consider your digital footprint to be? Say Facebook, Twitter, couple of social media profiles, or Gmail, Google searches, YouTube. Can you think of anything more? Now, what if I tell you that this is not even 50% of your digital presence? Now, this is for individuals. Now, let's consider organizations. So, being a security profile, I get to talk to a lot of CISOs. So, in one such conversation with a CISO of a product company, a consumer product company in India, we were discussing the digital assets, and he was telling me they have a website and they have a couple of ads running on Facebook and Google, and they also have products being sold on Amazon. So these are the only three things that he was considering as his digital presence, right? But when we analyzed, one, this company was an early adapter of cloud services, right? Now he did not consider any of his cloud assets as his digital assets, where that's wrong, right? Secondly, they have a lot of messaging service providers or tools that they use. Since they're a product company, right, they're selling, they might have email vendors. Now even that is not was not being considered as assets. And thirdly, this company had an inbuilt software development team. Now the developers were sharing codes on multiple code sharing platforms. That again was a digital footprint that he did not recognize, right? So I mean, for organizations, right? The current problem with the way that the industry is approaching footprinting is that we consider it just to be domains, subdomains, or IPs, right? But 65% of our assets are cloud, are on cloud, or mobile applications, are our social media profiles or source codes. Now, today, let's just discuss a little about the footprinting basics. Let's understand the importance of footprinting, and let's also try to learn some tools which might help with the same. All right. So, firstly, what do you think is fingerprinting, right? So, for an individual, it's about understanding the marks that they've left on the internet. But for an organization, it's about creating a profile or a blueprint of their own digital assets, right? Now, why is this important? uh, I think two talks previously, there was Lakshmi Nair talking about why you can't protect something that you can't see. It's very important, right? See, from an attacker's perspective, I think a lot of researchers might agree that we spend a lot of time profiling an organization before launching an attack. Now, when someone spends so much time profiling a company or your company, they might come across a lot of assets that you did not know existed. So it's very important for a company to be aware of its digital presence. Now, from an attacker's point of view, it helps them easily identify a potential target and accordingly place an attack, right? Or identify the type of attack they want to place. For defenders, it's it's equally important for us to have that visibility so that we can be prepared for these attacks, and it helps us with better VA. And it's also very important for us to equip ourselves with the available tools on the internet. So what we're going to do is discuss a couple of open source tools that are available for free, which both organizations and individuals can use, right? Like I said, firstly, it's not just domains, subdomains, or IPs anymore, right? Nuclei is a interesting tool, I mean, open source tool that is used for web application scans. They have a lot of CV templates, and it's a very useful tool. Now, I'm sure most organizations run web app scans at least, or VAPT at least once in a quarter or half yearly. Now it's up to you to think about it or ponder upon, is that enough or does that suffice, right? Now coming to code repositories, if you've heard about most of the big breaches that happened in the last couple of years, right? It's basically because of code repositories. The Capital One breach, or yeah, the Domino's breach that happened in India recently, right? The base of these were code repos. Now, I mean, agile becoming a culture, code sharing platforms are widely used, right? So GitHub is another tool which is pretty helpful in this case. And again, now coming to cloud assets, it's a whole different ball game, right? There are a lot of cloud assets that you should, I mean, companies adapting to the digital age, a lot of them are all of them are adapting to cloud services. Now, gray hat warfare is one tool that's specifically used for identifying open S3 buckets, right? And now coming on to credentials. So you see that again, your credentials being breached, or the breach credentials being put up on sites is also a footprint, right? That you need to be aware of. So usually, I think we typically use sites like Have I Been Pawned, but dhash.com is my personal favorite to identify if I've been a part of breaches. And from an organization point of view, if you want to identify your VIPs, cred leaks or so, you can use dhashed, or Rocket Reach is another interesting tool, right? Now, mobile applications. Okay, so a lot of people watching this might come from a security background, right? Now, how many of us really assess applications before we download them? We think everything that we download from Google Play Store or App Store is generally safe, right? But we do not realize these applications might itself be leaking something or might not be following good security practices. So BVigil is a search engine which could be used to identify if an app is secure or not, right? And Nmap, the typical tool that we use for port scanning. Shodan, now that Shodan gives you almost 40 Shodan itself can give you at least a 40 to 50% idea about your digital assets, right? And all the other sources that you see listed, like Whois or Google Groups, they've been around for more than a decade, but they still serve the purpose, and they're still good tools that could be explored, right? Now, just knowing about fingerprinting, just fingerprinting it once is not enough, right? This is a very big problem with the current way that blue teams work. So they just run a one-time scan, fingerprint it, and that's it, right? But what happens is your digital presence is growing day by day. For example, from an individual's perspective, so today I'm giving this talk, right? There are multiple posts about this on social media, or now this is being live streamed on YouTube. So that's growing my digital footprint. Same as the case with companies. Every single day, their assets are growing. So it's very important as security teams for us to continuously fingerprint them and maintain an inventory of this, so that you are aware of your own footprints, right? So That's more of it from my end. So please feel free to write to me if you, in case you have any queries. Would be happy to answer them. Thank you.
I think we don't have any queries so far. So it was really a great session and an insightful session. So, yeah, thanks for coming up here and letting us know about your session in detail. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Muskan. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.